Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. So today I wanted to make a video about something that I've actually made a video on before, which is kind of a peculiar way to actually introduce your video. Now, about 5 months ago, I made a video asking if there was any knowledge or did anybody know if the developers had actually spoken specifically about an anti-cheat in the Division 2. And in the past 5 months, I went online and I've looked around and I haven't really seen a lot of videos actually making inquiries of an anti-cheat system or policy. Now, one of the audiences on the channel, Scotty_918, actually commented and said that the developers actually spoke about this in one of their interviews. Now, a lot of people said, they confirmed this, but a lot of people were still skeptic about the developers having said that in Division 1, but we didn't really get a good solid anti-cheat. Now, no system is impenetrable. Some people are probably going to find a way to still cheat in the game, even if the developers do all that they can to make sure that the game is as solid, well-rounded, and can prevent a lot of people from cheating. That being said, I think the developers still need to come out and actually give or mention or speak toward an anti-cheat policy that they wish to implement, because in Division 1, a lot of the game-breaking experiences in the game were actually as a cause of people cheating and exploiting the game. Now, some exploits were based on the game's poor framework. Some people were able to find the exploits without doing anything extra. The game was just broken on release, and people were able to find ways to go through backdoors and blow up the APC and get a bunch of gear sets. They were able to gear up and then go in the dark zone and intimidate other people. That's a different story. The story that I'm discussing here, the cheating measures that I'm discussing here, are people who use software, who use bots, who use all kinds of things in order to try to get an unfair advantage in the game. And this is not only on the PvP side, it's also on the PvE. Now, some of you who've watched my videos, you know that I'm not necessarily a PvP player from Division 1. I didn't spend a lot of my time doing the PvP because I just thought that the PvP side was super broken, and it was in most aspects. In some aspects, it was actually okay, but for the most part, the PvP side did have a lot of its issues, and I didn't want to engage in that because that's just not good. That's not good for me. I'm very competitive in that sense. And so, yes, there might be people who try to exploit the game. The game is coming out. There's going to be a 7-day early access, and some people are going to be able to get in the game, gear up, get ready. And I just sense that some people might want to destroy the experience for other players, or for some people, it might just be a fun project for them to see if they can actually break in and cheat in the Division 2. And so Massive needs to, in my opinion, create a strong policy in the very first few months of the game that actually address this, that actually makes sure that if somebody is caught cheating or if somebody is reported for cheating, that they actually, face severe measures, because this is a way for them to actually make sure that they protect their own consumers, that they protect their audience, their fan base that want to truly enjoy the game. If they launch the game and the game has exploits immediately, we're going to have a Division 1 cycle that actually goes on to repeat itself again. And it will be very sad if history were to repeat itself, because to be very honest, those of us who played Division 1, whether it be a love-hate relationship that we've had with the game, something deep down inside of us wants the Division 2 to actually succeed, because that will give you a game to play for at least 24 months if the game actually lands very well. And 24 months means you're not going to be spending money buying other games. You're just going to enjoy getting your gear sets, meeting new people, running missions with them, and taking down NPCs. It's just what the Division players do. And hopefully in the dark zone, we're able to also enjoy the activities and the new nature of what the developers are bringing. And that brings us to the dev blog that's coming out very soon. I know the dev blog might address some other changes, and from what I've been hearing around the block is that the dev blog this month will probably not address PvP, which everyone is more confident that that's going to be coming in December. But at least before the PvP talk is even on the table, what's the anti-cheat measures for people who try to in any way exploit this game? I think that needs to be put in place. That needs to be set as a standard early enough so that everybody knows with the expectation going in. That way it holds Ubisoft accountable in order for them to actually implement this policy, and it holds us accountable in the community to be able to report these things and know that we're going to get a response. Because I feel like if there's no policy in the air, even though people say we'll report them and then nothing happens because somebody wants to slack off on their duties, then we can all point and say, okay, this was actually what was agreed upon. Because the games as a live service is very different from just purchasing a game and then just playing the game in isolation. Yes, if you see bugs, if you see game breaking glitches, those things can be patched, from the developer side, and then send down to the client. The developers are usually available to help solve problems that may prop up. So we're hoping that this renewed relationship that's probably going to be formed very soon is going to ensure that players actually have a good experience, and that experience is actually not spoiled by people who want to come in and exploit the system. Now, like I said, no system is impenetrable, but the developers need to start discussing this with the community and letting the community kind of know that they actually have our backs on this matter. Because yes, cheaters will try to cheat. Yes, there's no system that cannot be broken into, but there need to be measures that actually ensure that the game is going to be enjoyable. Because unlike the first game, people will be running in the dark zone, and they'll have people using invisible glitches. They'll have people using RPM hacks, trying to just, get a free shot at people and advance themselves. These things ought not to be the case in a game like this, because a game like this is going to be put under the microscope. Skeptics, fans, and, people who are on the fence and all of that, alike, are all going to be scrutinizing the Division game. So for the sake of the game, for the sake of the community, for the sake of the developers, and for the sake of the relationship that the community has with the developers and the publishers, which is a love-hate relationship, one day we're happy, one day we're mad, it's still very necessary that they come out and actually put this policy in front of the community and actually start the discussion. Even though they don't have a policy that's in pen and paper, at least they can start the discussion, so that maybe in the next state of the game, maybe in the next big announcement, they can then maybe put something that's more concrete. Anyways, that's what I wanted to put out there. If anybody has any more information, if anybody may have heard something in an interview that's probably maybe been glossed over because of the volume of stuff on the internet, or because of the time since we've had some real one-on-one discussions with the developers during E3 and during Gamescom and all of that, please feel free to put those links in the comment section. Let's just keep this conversation open. It's not a bashing fest. It's not anything to bash the developers. The developers are doing their job, they're working, but we're just looking out to make sure that they're looking out for us, because the experience that we're going to get in this game is going to be very telling, especially in the first few months. Not everyone's going to be as patient as the hardcore community, and the developers are now more knowledgeable that if they don't perform and if they don't meet up to the expectations, other good gaming companies are going to make similar IPs and try to take their audience. I mean, Fallout 76 was pretty much the dark zone, but they tried it and they failed woefully. So the Division 2, you guys at Massive and Ubisoft, you'll have an opportunity to actually make a very good game for us. So that's all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for your time and your audience. I appreciate y'all. Consider subscribing for more content like this, and I guess I'll see you in my next video. Peace.